So yeah, and Michael Botha, our head of sales, is joining us next. Strategy and culture and team, and all of these things are very important, but they all grind to a halt if there are no sales. So we're going to hand over to Michael to just talk to us about how to do sales in this new environment.
Thanks very much, Lo. So I thought I'd just share a little bit about me for some context. So I've worked in the financial industry for a number of years. I've played rugby overseas. I've worked as a freelance writer, writing sort of anything and everything I could at the time because it's the only job that I could find. I even worked for a company which created ice art for a number of 11 days before the sort of COVID of 2020 settled in and I got shipped out. I've been fortunate enough to find myself in an array of different environments, organizations, and cultures. Some have been great, some have just been. But in this time, I've had some wins, a lot of losses, but most importantly, throughout the whole process, many, many different lessons. I just wanted to share a couple of the learnings that I feel are important that I have experienced that I think can be quite useful in terms of heading into what is looking to be an exciting 2022. The first lesson I want to leave you with is speak to, understand, and then to be understood. I forget the exact study, but basically all of the sales development reps for a large organization were given a number of different categories and metrics which they were to be measured on when trying to drill down into understanding who was achieving the most sales and more importantly, why. There were obviously various nuances, being industry specific, geographically specific, cultural specific, but the crux of the matter was this, is that women came out on top. I mean, no surprise there really, but the real reason or real question is why. So after a deeper dive, it really boiled down to this. Women spoke 30% less than men on calls. Now, why was this? Did they not know the product or service? Were they shy? Were they new in the organization? No, the answer was simply they listened. The focus of the conversation was on the prospect and the issues they were encountering, not how much you could tell them about the amazing things your offering does. No one cares about infomercials. No one cares about you talking about the 40 new features your new SaaS product has. They didn't come here to listen to your TED talk. They came here to speak to you because they had a problem that needed to be solved. When it comes to inbound and outbound, they are very different, but also very similar. And it all really boils down to the prospect having a problem which needs to be solved. With outbound, in an ideal world, you are trying to land in front of the prospect who is encountering a problem which you can communicate that you can solve simply. With inbound, they came to you because they had a problem. Whether this was because of your name, network, marketing, they came to you. So take some time to really listen to why they came to you before you tell them how great the thing it is that you do, and then your features and your updates. Talk about their problem first, understand their problem, and then you can start to understand your product or service and what aspect of it has the most impact in terms of helping them solve their problem. Talking is great, but understanding is better. And if you really want to be heard, you have to understand first. The second thing I want to leave you with is don't be a tool, but use them. So there's a myriad of different technologies we are all using at the moment with an outsourced CFO, as well as the business environment at large. I think at the moment we use about 18 different tools in our tech stack, which can be quite daunting at times, especially someone coming into the organization. But when you're looking at tooling up and bringing technology into your sales and business development process, there are a couple different things which I think you should strongly consider. The most important is the foundation in your tooling process, and to really identify what your entire sales and business development process is and put it down on paper. Whether this is old-fashioned pen and pencil on a piece of A4, on a Google Doc, it doesn't really matter. But when everything is out on the table, it is far easier to understand the nuances and where the problems lie. One of the things I can share which has helped us a lot at OCFO is building out certain playbooks which are designed to put everything on the table so we can hone in on what is working, what is not working, and then start to iterate to provide better results. Keep processes as simple as possible. Many tools do many different things, so it's important to have a look at your work process, find what is most simple, what is most replicable, and what takes a lot of your time. These processes are then able to be able to be automated and outsourced. look at doing this before bringing on a bunch of expensive new hires or elaborate tools, whatever the fashion of the day is. Remember, there's no use in buying a Ferrari when all the time that you have is to get to learn to drive a VW, and all that your business sometimes needs is to drive a VW. It's a lot easier to give part of a job to someone or something than an entire job. But in order for this to happen, it is very important that what you are doing is clear and what you are trying to achieve is also clear. Technology is absolutely fantastic and great, but it must never be forgotten that a purpose of technology, specifically when it comes to sales and business development, is to enable bandwidth for the person you are talking to and for yourself, enable to be focusing more on the human to human element. I think that's something that never should be forgotten. The last thing I would like to leave you with, as I know time is short, is the value of empathetic communication. So why empathetic communication as opposed to just communication? The key is to focus on communicating with someone by trying to understand a bit more about their person, their problems, and their point of view. We all have so much going on in our lives. It's so easy to become, me-centric in our approach. But when it comes to really connecting with someone, the onus of focus needs to be particularly on them. Remember, people are so different and digest information in different ways. Some people like to read, emails. Some people prefer sound-based communication, such as phone calls or voice notes. Some people digest information best via, video. This kind of sort of process extensive platforms too when you're looking at identifying which to focus on. What works best for you, your organization, and your audience is potentially a big secret which can be included in your source. Don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques. Use a combination of approaches within your sales and business development process so that you can slowly start to dial in how best to communicate and connect with prospects and clients. But remember, whatever it is that you do, make sure you are able to measure this process, as only when something is able to be measured are you able to start understanding and then improving on it. Thanks very much for listening to me. Over to you, Lo.